Hello and welcome to another edition of Overland Fam. So guys, today things are starting to hot up as I am now preparing if you've watched the other channel, if you've watched The Hard Way, then you will know that I'm preparing to make my first order of all the tools and chemicals and everything else that I'm going to need in order to make the rooftop tent and perhaps the storage box towards the rear of the car. Another thing has now I want to announce to you guys is something that I plan to do this week. So today we're going to talk about cars. Yeah, this is something we haven't had a lot of to talk about. Oh dear, give me 1 second. Okay, hopefully we'll be left alone now. Fantastic. Yes, so cars. We're going to talk cars today in today's video because we have shortlisted 4 cars. Okay, and these are cars which have their pluses and negatives, but we are looking to find out of these 4 cars. We're going to zero in on the car which best suits us. These are the 4 cars that we're actually going to go out. We're going to take a look at. So we're going to go and literally find these cars, hopefully try and source them within the country, and then we're going to do reviews on them. I hope if we can get some of these guys to at these main dealerships to actually give us a bit of time with their car, or even a bit of time with their salesman in their car. Anything would do for us, to be honest with you. So what are the 4 cars? Well, let's get into it and I'll let you know. So I'm going to say actually 4 or 5 cars. I'll let you know why. So in a moment. So we thought about cars and we thought about what we wanted. One of the things we wanted was a car that we could source right here in Central Europe. Okay, that was important for us because we plan on financing the car. Why we plan on financing the car and not buying a brand new car? Well, and not buying an old second-hand car? Well, because it is more than likely now that my partner is going to be going away with us. Whether it's going to be the full entirety of that journey, I don't know quite yet. I hope so, but she's going to be coming some way with us. If she's coming away with us, child is coming away with us, we need to make sure that the car is as bulletproof can be, right? It needs to have a number of different things. So what are we looking for? Bulletproof, simple engine. We're looking for, so reliability, basically. We're looking for a car that that's 4-wheel drive. Yeah, 4-wheel drive, preferable. It's not 100%. We don't have to have 4-wheel drive. And guys, I tell you this now, you don't have to have 4-wheel drive to do what we plan to do. Okay, because we plan to stick to the periphery of Africa. So you don't have to have 4-wheel drive. But there is going to be a part where we're going to go straight up into the game reserves in northern South Africa and Botswana. And if we go up there, we're going to need a 4-wheel drive. So we need a proper 4-wheel drive, right? We need locking mechanisms, okay, for the gearing. Even if it's electronic, we just need that because there are going to be cases where we're going to need it, and I'd prefer to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. What else? It's got to be very roomy. Clearly, it's got to be very roomy inside because we're going to be living out of it for a significant amount of time. What's number 5? I don't know. Needs to be comfortable. Yeah, that's one thing. It needs to be comfortable. Now, that doesn't mean you can buy any new car and it's going to be comfortable. That isn't always the case, okay? But we do need to have a comfortable car for this particular journey. That is important for us. So reliability, roominess, comfortable, locking diffs and four-wheel drive. That is what we're looking for. So what are the four cars on our list? Okay, so number one, the Toyota 200 series Land Cruiser. We are looking for one of those. Why? Because they are Japanese. Because a lot of people use them on the continent, and because a lot of people use them on the continent, there's lots of parts, there's lots of spares. Everything we need is on the continent. So if we do break down, we can repair the car where it is, and we won't need to look back to Europe to get them to send us a part where we are, if worst comes to the worst, depending on the part, right? Most of the parts we can source in Africa. So that's another thing. So those are some of the positives about that car. Then some of the negatives, I'm not sure if I don't think I've ever seen one here in Europe. I mean, in Switzerland. I know they are here. I've seen them here, I think. No, I've never seen one here before. That's pretty crazy. Because we do have the Alps, we have a lot of mountainous terrain here, but most of the roads are pretty good regardless. You know, you can go over the Alps, and I have driven over the Alps during the winter time in a normal two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive car, an estate car. So it can be done, but of course I wouldn't advise on it. What else about that car? They're expensive. Now, because of the pandemic, there have been a lot of chip shortages, and so for a lot of the brand new cars are now really sought after. And some people are saying to themselves, "Do you know what's the point? We're going to order ourselves a car. We're going to have to wait 18 months, especially the new Land Cruiser 300 series. You could be waiting 2 years for a new one of those." So yeah, people are now looking back and they are saying to themselves, let's get ourselves the older version because it was just as good, right? And there are a lot more spare parts out there. So yeah, they're not really, they're sought after vehicles, and there aren't many around in this country. So those are two negatives as well. Okay, so what's the next car? The next car is another Japanese vehicle that I'm going to call right after this. Actually, I'm going to give the dealership a call because it's not far from here. And that is the Mitsubishi Pajero, the new version of the vehicle, which is, I think the new version came out a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. So yeah, it's that car, definitely something that I've been keeping an eye on, because initially when I thought that I was going to be doing this journey by myself, I thought, okay, I'm going to need a vehicle. So I was looking at the Mitsubishi Pajeros, but I was looking at the really old ones because they're so affordable and they are so capable. Okay, so yeah, that's why I was always looking at Mitsubishis. What are two negatives about? No, let me give you two positives about the car. Once again, it's a Japanese car. Okay, so it's a Japanese car, very reliable, pretty to look at. If you need a pretty car, I don't need a pretty car, but they are very pretty to look at. They have the locking diffs and everything else. They have electronic locking diffs. So ergonomically, they should be sound inside as well. But once I get my hands on one, then I'll be able to let you know exactly what I think of it. And yeah, so we're going to be doing that too. Sorry, I'm going to be doing that too. Well, I'm just rambling on, aren't I? Anyway, so yeah, those are some positives about the car. And I think, fingers crossed, I think they are available here in this country. Okay, which is really good. Some negatives about it. Once again, they are expensive. They are expensive. So that's one thing I need to think about. What else? They are also I'm not sure about parts and about running costs and about the engine. I'm not sure. I've got to look at those, but from what I've been told, it's not like you can buy one of these cars and, there are plenty of places, plenty of Mitsubishi dealerships. There aren't that many Mitsubishi dealerships, and it's just really weird. Not in this corner of the planet anyway. So yeah, that's another thing. What's another thing? Mitsubishi owners. Oh goodness. I hope I'm not touching a sensitive area here, but they've been known to be rather, I don't know, nasty. I don't want to be. I am a little apprehensive about joining this clique of people that love Mitsubishis. You can't really, I can't go out, take one, and then really, give my open, honest advice about it without getting some comebacks from that crowd. So yeah, that's another thing. But yeah, the Mitsubishi Pajero, definitely another car that we're looking at. Okay, so there were 4 cars, right? I don't know. Okay, so anyway, another one. I need to think about which cars I was looking at. Another car is the Land Rover Discovery 5. So this car for us is attractive because it has some heritage with me. My dad used to work at the factory when he first came here from Jamaica back in the 60s. And so he knows about the vehicles themselves. He passed away about 20 years ago. And I think having that car and then taking it to Africa, I think I would also even try and take his ashes to Africa with me, or some of them anyway, so I could at least bring him back home to a certain degree, in a vehicle that perhaps he had some, he'd been a small cog in, in that company that pushed it forward to where it is today. So it has some emotional ties to me, the company itself. But the Discovery 5 is a great car. I have never been in one, but I've seen the statistics, and the statistics are great. The size, the amount of room you have inside is incredible. I think you're talking between 13 and 14 with the seats up. With the seats up, you're talking around 1,500 liters of room in the back, which is unreal. No other car comes close to that. I like that about it. I also like the fact that it looks like a soft roader, but it isn't. So I like that about it. It makes us feel. It'll make us feel good on the road, and yeah, that is definitely something we want to do. We want to feel like we are. We don't want to look like we're driving Mad Max when we're driving the kids to school. So we're going to be able to drive it as a daily as well when we come back here, if we come back here. So that's one thing. Those are some positives about the car. Some negatives about the car. I think that Land Rover, if you go onto Land Rover Discovery YouTube channels, you will rarely hear people talking about the cars being reliable. And the Discovery 5 is no different. There have been a number of people who have had a number of problems with the vehicle, including leaky windscreens and stuff like that. There have been problems with the 2-litre engine, but I don't plan on getting the 2-litre turbo diesel engine anyway. I plan on getting the 3-litre turbo diesel V6. There are newer versions of the car that have the Ingenium engine in it. I'm not planning on getting those simply because I think they'll be a little bit too complicated for us to fix if we went out in it and it broke down. I wouldn't be able to take it to any local people, mechanics, to change a turbocharger, for instance, or I couldn't do stuff like that in an Ingenium. That engine is, it scares me a bit. But if we get offered the right price for the straight six, it has 340 brake horsepower, straight six, turbo charged diesel engine with a mild hybrid system, which acts like, I think, a supercharger, which gives it a bit of low range grunt, which is really good. So that engine is a lot more efficient, not a lot more efficient, but it's more efficient and more powerful, really. So, as long as it's reliable. But the thing is, I don't see many people overlanding in the new shape Land Rover Discoveries. So, new shape, the new version with the new engines, the Ingenium engine. So, yeah, that's something I'm going to have to think about. There is a fourth one, and it's like escaped me. I don't know, but I'm going to talk about the Discovery, the new Defender. I like the car a lot. But it doesn't have the amount of space that we are looking for. It doesn't have the right amount of space, and they are just expensive once again. They're too expensive. All these cars are expensive. It's ridiculous. Come on, it's just normal people. We're just normal people. We don't have that much money. We want to cruise and just do whatever we do on the road. But most people buy these bangers because they don't want to have problems with financing their cars. A lot of people, because it's expensive to drive around the world. Okay, that's one less problem to have if you own your car. But of course, we are not in that situation. Whilst we're going to be driving, a large distance around Africa, we are still going to be, we're coming back home. We're coming back home. So that one I think is out of the question. But I'm going to leave it at that. Those are the three that we're mostly focused on, those cars. I'm sure there is a fourth one. There was a fourth one that I was thinking of, but I can't. It's sort of escaped my mind right now at this moment. But if I think about it, I'll get back to you. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be looking at all of these cars over the next week or so. That's another thing. We will, fingers crossed, hopefully get a chance to go to the place where they build the Mercedes G-Class. The Gelandewagen. Yeah. So, which is not far from us. So, fingers crossed. I'm going to make the necessary calls, and fingers crossed, we'll be able to go down there and take a look at this car, the G-Wagon. I'm not a big fan of the G-Wagon. I've got to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of it. I've driven in one before. I think they're incredible cars for the street. I think, when I see them out here on the streets, now you get people who sort of buy them who are looking for a bit of attention. And they I don't know, they'll never go off-road in them. They have low-profile tires. They look ridiculous. They sound loud and brash, but they're just silly cars. They're silly cars. I'm sorry, those G63s. But I have seen some that have been hired. They've had their suspension lifted. They've been lifted. They've had the big tires on. Those just look incredible. They look like they can go anywhere. So fingers crossed we're going to be able to take a look at this, because my wife does know people that work at the factory. So keep your fingers crossed, guys. Hopefully that video will come up fairly soon. So yeah, that's all I've got time for today. Okay, guys, I know I've gone way over on this, but as I make these phone calls and arrange these meetings, I'm going to be I'm going to be taping them for you guys to watch later. Yes, I said the word tape. You can tell I was born in the 70s, can't you? So I'm going to be making these videos very, very soon. So keep an eye out for those. So that's all I've got time for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.